Hi guys, I'm EVM and welcome back to a sunny Yorkshire again. Now, in what has turned out to be like a mini-series almost, charting the life of this car, this is the fifth, I think, in the series, because it's just passed over 50,000 miles now, and the car is 3.5 to 4 years old. So, if you believe the anti-EV brigade, who traditionally know nothing about electric vehicles, I'm due a new battery now, clearly, because it's nearly 4 years old and I've done 50,000 miles, so it must be on its last legs. Right, before I get onto the state of health of the battery itself, let me tell you about the car and what's gone wrong in the last 10,000 miles. Well, I'm happy to report nothing. The car has been faultless since its warranty expired on the car anyway. The battery is still warranted for another 50,000 miles, but the car warranty itself for the rest of the car has expired now. So anything that goes wrong, I will have to pay for. So yes, thankfully nothing has gone wrong in the last 10,000 miles. And it's just the original two faults basically that have happened since I've had this from new, which were the door speaker, which blew. That was replaced under warranty, and the temperature sensor, which kept the fan spinning anytime the car was charging. Both of those were fixed, as I said, under warranty by Nissan, but took way too long compared to what they should have taken. I kind of explained that in the previous video, and the other video you might have seen that basically stated I will never buy another Nissan again. Now let me just clarify what I mean by I will never buy another Nissan again. That is not because of the car. I would encourage anybody who's looking at a used electric vehicle to definitely consider the 24 or 30 kilowatt hour Leaf. It's been brilliant, can't fault it. It's just the ownership experience with Nissan that has made me just pull completely back. I've gone from pushing their product, owning 2 of their Leafs, creating a YouTube channel around their car, to just not wanting anything to do with them. That's how bad it's been. Go and watch the other video on my channel if you really want to know the details. I won't go through it again on here. But yeah, ultimately the car has been faultless. Still no rattles. The arse crack problem is still there, which has been there from very early on. Blatantly down to my strong arse muscles, as I've said before, but ultimately it's not getting any worse, so that's good. Other than that, yeah, I mean, a few marks here and there, as you'd expect from a car of this mileage, but most of them could be sorted out, cleaned off, and I probably will do that before I sell it, whenever that might be, because I have absolutely no idea what car I would replace this with. Right, well, I suppose I might as well check the state of health of the batteries, because as I said, the amount of times people say to me on every single video in the comments, they only last a few years, the batteries, don't they? So I'm well past replacement. So yes, I'm going to stick my dongle into the car. Not that one, this one. And that will tell me via an app on my phone what the state of health of the batteries are. Apologies if this is a bit of a blatantly done on my lunch break video, but needs must. Alrighty. The battery state of health, according to Leaf Spy, is a 91.2%. So, after 50,589 miles, I have lost 8.8% on my state of health of my battery. Which, well, I don't know. What do you think? Is that good or is that bad? The one thing I think that needs stating now is that in terms of electric vehicles, this is, I think it's fair to say, a previous generation in terms of battery tech, and it has no thermal battery management compared to other cars, certainly cars that are out today right now. It's not got great battery management basically, and the price have reflected that. I'm not complaining. It can get away with it in the UK with a battery of this size, so don't think that all electric vehicles will lose 8.8% in 50,000 miles. It's not indicative of an electric vehicle. This is effectively, I would say, for mass-produced EVs, relatively speaking, the worst case scenario. Teslas, e-Neros, things like that have much more advanced battery management system, and some of them more advanced batteries as well. It should be less than that. I've seen Teslas with a few 100,000 miles on them with above 90% battery health. So it's indicative of the Leaf, I guess. 8.8% loss in 50,000 miles, nearly 4 years, but not of EVs in general. So if you're thinking about getting an EV, like a new one, a Tesla, for example, this isn't normal. This is the worst case scenario of a car, a budget EV that has no thermal battery management and various other things I won't bore you with. Ultimately though, for a car that cost me less than £16,000, no battery release or anything, I'm more than happy at that. I have the 30 kilowatt hour Leaf. As I said, it's nearly 4 years old. 8.8% loss. Now this is the thing which a lot of people seem to forget when it comes to EVs. There's been no maintenance on this car at all. I have paid for servicing with Nissan, which basically means they're going to plug it in and do what I've just done and check the state of health of the battery and give me some screen wash. But there's no physical maintenance, there's no cam belts, spark plugs, oil changes, fuel filters, oil filters. None of that, of course, because it's just an electric motor attached to a battery. If you had any petrol diesel car and didn't service it in any way, apart from brakes, I guess, for 50,000 miles, it would be running less efficiently than it is now. And the thing, again, you've got to remember is if a major component goes in a petrol engine, say, like the cam belt goes, something big, turbo, the car stops, it doesn't work. It doesn't, until that is fixed, the car is useless. Whereas EVs just gradually degrade. They don't just stop working all of a sudden, or very, very rarely. So I guess it's a case of the longer you keep the car, there will be some degradation, and it just means it won't go as far, rather than it just stops working. And after 200,000 miles, say, and I don't know what percentage of this will be on, but let's imagine that you've got a 30% loss in range after 150,000 miles or 200,000 miles or whatever. That car will still work exactly the same, in terms of speed and drivability that it did when it was brand new. It's just the range won't be there. Whereas if you think of how much money you'll have put into maintaining a petrol car, after 150, 200,000 miles, I always get people saying, I've had mine for 200,000 miles and it's still running as nicely as the day I bought it. Well, one, it isn't. It will be running less efficiently. It's just natural. And two, how much have you spent maintaining that efficiency? Spark plugs, oil changes, cam belts. I mean, the last cam belt I had to pay for, and not all cars have them, well, I think it was like 450 quid. That's a lot, when you factor in all the stuff you are maintaining on an ICE car, a combustion engine car, it adds up to more than a battery change would after a couple 100,000 miles. So, I don't know, I suppose what to take from this is, if you're buying an EV, then when you pick the mileage, make sure, if you're going to keep it for a lot of years anyway, make sure that you're going to be happy with the range of that car minus 20%, just for the sake of argument. In reality, it shouldn't be anywhere near that on a modern EV. Okay, I'm just playing it safe for current used EVs. So if you get a 300 mile range EV, and you think, well, that's more than enough for me, would you be happy with a 250 mile range? When that eventually drops, when it's done loads and loads of miles, would that still suit you? If the answer is yes, then that car will be fine for you. If you're looking at the used market, of course, it's the same sort of story. And before anyone has a complaint about the range of EVs is never what the manufacturer says. Yes, it's annoying, but the MPG that you get out of a car is never what the manufacturer says. This isn't a new thing. They exaggerate. I don't know what more to tell you. It's just a fact of life. You never see people have a go at manufacturers anymore, do you? Saying, well, it says I'm going to get 70 miles per gallon out of this, but you only get 60. Right, so yeah, in terms of this car goes, I always go off on a mini rant, don't I? In terms of this car, no rattles from day one, 50,000 miles later, everything works. Out of warranty in terms of the car, but not the battery. I've still got another 50,000 miles left on the battery warranty. So I'm not worried at all. I've no idea how long I'm going to keep this car because, again, any car I want, I can't afford. So I might have this for another 3 months, 2 years, who knows? So far so good. I'm not complaining. It's a bit boring as far as car goes. It's a bit uninspiring drive on country roads, but I never expected it to be a hot hatch, and neither should you. I must admit though, when I think about it, I've not really noticed a drop in range, because logically I should be, let's say I did 100 miles before, a bit more in reality, but to make it simple, let's say this did 100 miles when it was new. In theory I should be getting 91-ish miles now, but I haven't noticed in day-to-day life, because sometimes I go to work, get out of the car, then my wife gets into the car, she goes to work and then comes back, so it effectively does 2 commutes a day some days, and occasionally she can get back and it's quite low. We haven't really had that. Even though there has been clearly some drop in range, it's not affected us at all. So I don't know how accurate the state of health ometer is on the car, but as far as I know, it's the same thing that Nissan use. If you were buying this car right now, will you be going 91% health? Yeah, I can live with that. Obviously it's a used car, it's 4-year-old nearly, blah 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 blah. Would that put you off? Is that what you expected out of this car? Again, not you won't have that degradation on your Tesla types or your e-Neros or your Konas, that sort of thing. But on the early adopter EVs, I guess I'd call them, you're going to get some degradation, of course, clearly. Well, I better put that to cover my dongle hole up. I always like to make innuendos on these videos. It just doesn't seem right if I don't. Right, so that's pretty much it really. Nothing to see here, other than it's the same car as it was 10,000 miles ago. 91.2% battery health. As far as the channel goes, I'm working on getting some merch. That's right, t-shirts, maybe even mugs. So I'll let you know in due course. I'm hoping to get everything sorted out before Christmas, so keep an eye out for that. So if you were one of those people that ever wanted to donate to the channel, because obviously I've not gone down the Patreon route, then this is probably the best way of doing it. Buy something, you get something, I get something. Hopefully everyone's happy. I'm just deciding how insulting the t-shirts logos should be, basically. And as far as subscribing to the channel goes, again, the analytics tell me that 70 to 80% of the people that watch my videos aren't subscribed. Again, it does make a big difference. Subscribers are what manufacturers and sponsors go off. So the more people subscribe, the better it is for the channel you're watching. That goes for everyone, not just myself. So if you can, please do subscribe. So yes, I've waffled on enough. Thank you for watching. Just a brief video this week. Typically, it will probably do better than the videos I put a lot of effort into, but that's YouTube. So yeah, I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.